And so Moses had a stick. He had a staff. And Moses is synonymous with a staff. You've seen him in the cartoon, or you've seen him in the beautiful paintings where he's holding this, and then the Red Sea parts. But there was a reason that the staff was used and talked about in the Bible. In fact, in the Old Testament, it talks about God and how his rod and staff, they comfort me. Well, how can this comfort someone, right? Or David. It said David went to Goliath with the slingshot and the stones, and he leaned on his staff. Now, I doubt he was killing a Goliath, a giant, and he had his stones and his sling, and he was just leaning there like this. That is not what it's saying. He was not leaning back like this is nothing. He was probably pretty stressed. And in fact, that's why it says he leaned on it. There's other people in other places in the Bible, talks about them leaning on their staff or bringing their staff. This is why. Because back in the day, you always had a walking stick with you. You always had a staff with you. And so when something significant happened in your life, they would take and they would chisel a line in it, and it would turn into the timeline of when God did something. When they struggled, but God did something. When there was a victory, they would notch it out. It's kind of like how you put your kids, or we used to, I don't know if we ruin walls anymore, but remember when you used to ruin walls or doors, and you'd put your kids and you'd notch it out and you'd write 4 years old, and then 5 years old, and then 6 years old. Well, they were doing that with positive things, with victories. So when David went to Goliath, he had killed a lion. He had all of the victories he had done, and then he leaned on it, knowing it was a metaphor for he leaned on what he knew God could do and had already done.